Assalamu alaikum. Muhammad's Sunday Lectures, brought to you by the Nation of Islam, Muhammad's Temple, Unite. This Sunday's lecture will be brought to you by Brother Minister Haq Muhammad.
In the most holy name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, who appeared among us, the black man and woman here in America, in the person of Master W.D. Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his divine servant and messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I greet our viewers, our listeners, whether you are on the East Coast, the West Coast, the North, or the South, in the greeting words that was taught to us to greet our people, which is the greeting words of peace and paradise in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, welcome to Muhammad's Sunday Lectures. This is brought to you by Muhammad's Temple of Islam United. I am a member of the Nation of Islam. My name is Brother Minister Abdul Haq Muhammad. And I welcome you. We ask that you call a friend, a neighbor, a family member, and let them know that Muhammad's Sunday Lectures is on the air. Brothers and sisters, before we get started with our Sunday lecture, I would like to invite you to join us in the Muslim opening prayer. Whatever God you believe in, whoever you worship, we ask that you join us today in the Muslim opening prayer. We pray in this manner, which is traditional, it's symbolic of your hand stretched as if to receive something. We bow our heads and we pray. Surely I have turned myself to thee, O Allah, trying to be upright to he who has originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayers, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of all the world. No associates has he, and this I am commanded. I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King. There is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess my fault. So grant me protection against all my faults, for none grants protection against fault but thou. And guide me unto the best of morals, for none guides into the best of morals but thee. And turn away from me the evil and the indecent morals, for none can turn away the evil and indecent morals but thou. And O Allah, make Muhammad successful, and the followers of Muhammad successful. Here in the wilderness of North America, as thou did make Abraham and the followers of Abraham successful. For surely thou art praised and magnified. And O Allah, bless Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad here in the wilderness of North America, as thou did bless Abraham and the followers of Abraham. For surely thou art praised and magnified. Amen. Again, Brothers and sisters, welcome to Muhammad's Temple of Islam United's Sunday lectures. Just give me a second. Whoever is listening to us or viewing us today, we thank you for taking time out of whatever schedule that you have to listen to us for a few minutes today to share with you the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which was given to him by God in person. We could never, ever, brothers and sisters, thank Allah for raising up in our midst a leader, a teacher, and a guide in the person of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And with what's happening today, the trials and the tribulation, the confusion in America and the world, we thank Allah that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was raised up, and with his love for us, guided us and left with us a treasure of information that we can move throughout the world in this journey for liberation. For our people that number 30, 50, maybe 60 million Black people here in America. So we thank Allah for that great man who spent 44 years among us, trying to get us to stand up and take the wisdom and knowledge that he has given to us from God. Brothers and sisters, every Sunday there's a lecture. There will be lectures coming in the future from our ministers, Minister Wali Muhammad, Minister Daniel Shabazz, Minister Oscar Shakir, and other ministers. We want you to listen to these brothers. We come with the love in our heart for our people. We are not here to judge you. We are not here to condemn you. But we are here, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad always taught us, to give you the truth. My subject today is Do for Self, Part 2. I did a subject some time ago, or maybe a month or so ago, on this same title, with this same title of Do for Self, Part 2. The teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad from God in person. This is not from us. This is from God in person, who met, or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad met him in 1931 in Detroit, Michigan. This is from God. We have nothing. We have nothing, brothers and sisters, only by the permission of Allah. That's how we move. That's how we come. Now, I am just one of the servants and one of the students of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I'm praying that I can be worthy in the light and in the presence of God to give you something to save our people. That's all. It is that simple, brothers and sisters. Now, the reason why I have chosen to do a part 2 on Do for Self, I'm listening. I'm listening to what's happening in America. And I hear our people expressing fear. Black people. I hear our people expressing grief. I hear our people crying out for leadership today. You know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us many, many years ago. He said, one day one day you will be here to see slavery revisited in America. And when I heard that, I said, I thought about, I said, we're going to be in chains again. We're going to have shackles on our wrists, chains on our legs, on some kind of plantation, being whipped, beat, and killed. What he meant was another form of slavery will come. It will be a slavery that will be the slavery of mental death. It will be the slavery of your mind. That is the slavery that he was talking. Okay? The white man, he doesn't need to put chains on you. All he has to do is give you his indoctrinated information that will lock your mind and your hearts up, and you will be forever a perpetual slave. But all praises are due to Allah, that the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is here to free us from that kind of enslavement. I'm listening to the now President Donald Trump. He is removing DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, where Black people have been placed in for jobs to be in certain positions where they can operate to feed their family and to have some kind of stability in America. Trump is removing that. He's removing affirmative action where Black people were put into, again, positions that allow them to be upward mobile and to have some kind of equity and fairness in the workplace and all the other kind of position that was afforded. They're firing hundreds of people from different federal jobs, some state jobs. Yes. My cousin, I have a cousin. He works, him and his wife are air traffic controllers for major airlines or major airlines. He said he got a notice from Donald Trump and from Elon Musk, that's Donald Trump's sidekick, that they have to, 5 things that they have to talk about and tell them what they are actually doing. I asked my cousin, which was a few weeks ago, I said, did you do it? He said, not yet, but I'm going to do it. He said, he called me Ronnie. He said, Ronnie, cousin Ronnie, I'm just trying to get out of it. He said, I got 2 more years to go. And Donald Trump wants to eliminate the Federal Department of Education, where many of our children attend schools throughout America. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was such a wise teacher. He set up independent schools for us. We never wanted our children to go to the white man's school. My children who are adults now, they went to the University of Islam when they were 6 and 7 years old. Yes. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad had, in 1974 and 75, the Nation of Islam had 46 University of Islam schools throughout the country. We were doing for self. We didn't fear that the white man was going to eliminate the Department of Education. We created our own education system or educational system. And our children were excellent. Our babies were doing calculus, trigonometry, hard sciences. We didn't fear any of them. Okay? I've listened to the white people celebrate and all throughout social media and throughout the different newspapers I've been reading, white people are celebrating. Said, we putting them niggas in check. That's what they're really saying. When Donald Trump said, make America great again, he is saying that we want it the way it was before. When we control all the assets in this country, from the top to the bottom. See, the word great doesn't mean good. The word great means big, exorbitant. The word great doesn't mean good. You had the Great Depression. There wasn't nothing good about the Great Depression. People lost their bank accounts. They lost money. They lost their lives. There wasn't nothing great about that. The Great Chicago Fire. There wasn't nothing greater good about that, because it burnt up lots and acres of land in Chicago. Yeah. So the word great doesn't mean good. It just means big, wide, those kind of things. Okay. Let's move on. I want you to listen, brothers and sisters, because this is very important. My subject is, just to remind you, is do for self. The teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad from God in person. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. He said when God first met with him, he said he taught him three basic things that would put us on a foundational level for us to be successful and go into the hereafter. The first thing was the knowledge of self. Because after we were brought from Africa to America, the white man took from us the knowledge of who we were. We came from great kings and queens in Africa. We had a culture. We had a language. We had traditions. We had a vibrant life. And he took that from us. See, when you want to destroy any people, you take the knowledge of who they are, because they cannot understand what their origin and who they are in this land. You take that from them. See, once you know who you are, you have a purpose in life. Okay? The knowledge of self. He said we were the Asiatic, the masters of civilization, the builders of civilization. And that we came from the darkness of the universe. He said we didn't have no beginning. We can't even trace our beginning in life. Then he taught us the knowledge of God. We were taught by the white man's Christianity, and I say that, the white man's Christianity. Because sometimes our people try to say, oh, we were the origins of Christianity. We may have been in a traditional and theological sense, but the Christianity that we were under was the white man's Christianity that taught us that God was a spook, that God was a spirit, that God was unseen, and we had no connection with him other than the fact that when we die, we would meet God. But the white man, all the stuff that he was telling us, he was enjoying that heaven while he lived, and we were waiting for ourselves to die to achieve heaven. Okay? So he taught us the knowledge of God. He said God was real. He was in us. He was around us. And that we represented and we are the essence of the God that created the heaven and the earth. And we are a part of that, which gave us a understanding that we wasn't someone that you could just cast us out. He gave us a sense of worth and that we were directly connected with Allah, the supreme being. I won't get into that. That's a whole other subject. But that was two of the first things he taught us. The knowledge of self and the knowledge of God. And the third thing was the knowledge of the devil. You know, we were taught that the devil was in the ground, that he was somewhere in the earth, in hell, and that he was surrounded by fire. He had a red pantyhose on, a red suit with horns and a pitchfork, and that he was waiting for us when we died to go to hell. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad demystified. He said the devil is the white. You can find in the book of Job where Jesus was identifying the devil. He said, "Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father you shall do. You were a murderer and a liar from the beginning." Now, that don't sound like no person in the ground. Those things I just mentioned from the book of John, those kind of characteristics and behavior is exercised and manifested in a human being. And as long as we've been in America, we have been victims of this liar, of this murderer, of this one who has came and tortured us ever since we have been here. That's not a spook. So you're looking, he knows that you're looking for a devil in the ground. And every time I go to a funeral, I never hear anybody say we're going to hell. Everybody's going to hell. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the white man lied to us and made us believe that hell was in the ground and heaven was in the sky while he robbed us right here on the ground while we were around. Okay? Praise be to Allah for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the reality of what he taught us about the devil. Those were three basic things. Now, we're talking about doing for self. We're talking about doing for self. Mr. Muhammad said when he met Master Farad Muhammad, and when he revealed himself, he called himself W.D. Farad. He told the people that he was talking to, he said, if you listen to what I say and internalize it, he said, you will have money. See, this was in 1931, right on the shadow of the Depression, the Great Depression. Black people were poor, man. They were eating. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said him and his family, he said they were so poor, so desolate. He said his wife, Sister Claire Muhammad, God bless her, what she done, they would go to the dumpster where the supermarkets would dump all the old food that they didn't want, the rotten food. He would go to the dumpster and find old heads of cabbage, pull off the rotten part, carrots that was stained. Sometimes she would find tomatoes and potatoes that was old and rotten. And she would take off the rotten part to feed the family. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said before he met Master Farad Muhammad, he was walking around trying to find jobs where there were no jobs. But Master Farad Muhammad offered them money. He understood that they needed money. Okay? He didn't talk about God in the beginning. He said, if you listen and internalize what I'm telling you and teaching you, you will have money, you will live in good home, and you will have friendship in all walks of life. You will have luxury, untold luxury. Now, this excited these Black people in Detroit in 1931. So he, like I said, he didn't offer the religion of Islam first. He offered them the material things that Islam would bring them. That was an attraction for these people. You see, these are the things that Black people today feel that if they stay here in America with Donald Trump and his gangsters will take from you, you will not have money, you will not have your homes anymore, you will not have luxury, because we are materialistic society. Everything is material. People wait outside for hours and hours. If a new pair of Jordans come out tomorrow, they will be lined up. They will sleep in the cold, waiting for Best Buy, waiting for the big department stores to open so they can get a new pair of Jordan sneakers. We're going to go straight at you, brothers and sisters, because we want you to understand and learn. You not that you have to do something for yourself. You must do something for yourself or suffer the consequences. We're going to teach you the solution and the things you could do to do for self. See, we don't control, even though we are in different facets of this society. Our people are in the media. Our people are in the entertainment world. Our people work for different government agencies, city agencies, state agencies. We're in the post office. We're in the sanitation department. Some of us work for corporate America. But you know what? We don't control the means of production. What do you mean, Brother Hart? See, there's a thing in economics or in business called supply and demand. Supply and demand. If there's a demand for something, then do you have the means to supply it? I'm gonna tell you what in most of the Black communities throughout America, the urban community, if you notice, the Chinese have restaurants and different businesses in our community. You know what they do? They go throughout the community, they'll come in at night, or they walk through during the day, and you think that you don't pay attention to them. What they're doing is they're sizing up. Oh, there's no laundromat here. There's 5,000 people that live in that building. There's another 4,000 live in that building, and there's no restaurant. They don't have a fruit and vegetable stand, and they will open it up. What they're doing is they know there's a demand, so they make the supply. The East Indians do the same thing. In New York City, we have what is called 99-cent store. Some of you have Dollar Tree stores. These are so-called discount stores. They go throughout the community. They see, these people need toilet paper. They need soap. They need pots and pans and spoons. They need paper plates. They need dishwashing liquid. Supply and demand. Okay? The Koreans, the East Indians, and other ethnic groups come here. They do the same thing. We as Black people, we don't control the means of production. We don't even supply the toilet paper needed to wipe our body. And if there's no toilet paper, what do you think America would look like? The Black community would look like? We don't have no toilet paper. Okay? I mean, it's funny, but it's sad. And it's true. Listen to me. We have to do what's done, brothers and sisters. Let us move on. Allah God appeared in the person of the Master Prophet Muhammad, and he raised up again the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The first thing, one of the first things he gave us was spiritual life, because he found us deaf, dumb, and blind, and we were worshiping white people. In the homes of Black people, there were pictures and portraits and displays of white Jesus, blonde hair, blue eyes, and we associated that with God. And when the Black people see white people, and they looked on the wall and see the white Jesus, they associate that with God. You see the connection? And our children growing up. This is why when you see young children, they want to go to the store. They pick the white dog. The little girls, our little Black girls, they want the white dog. They want the white character because they associate that with God. So that spiritual teachings from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was needed, and it awakened us to something that we had never even thought. Let me read something to you. This is a book by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that he wrote that was published in 1965 called Message to the Black Man in America. And I always like to give you what directly from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So no one could say, well, Brother Hawk is making that up. That's his teaching. No, this is teaching from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad from God in person. Let me tell you what he wrote, or read what he wrote. This is the page 2 of Message to the Black Man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs. He says, so a knowledge of God of righteousness was not represented by the devils. He means the white man. He said the God of righteousness was not represented to us from the white people that were our teachers. He said the true God was not to be made manifest to the people until the God of evil, the devil, has finished or lived out his time. It wasn't until, brothers and sisters, the white man, the reality of the devil was made known, that the teachings, the understanding, and the teachings of God was to be revealed to them. He says, which was allowed to deceive the nations of the earth. These white people in the 1800s sat down in the Berlin Conference in Germany and divided up the earth to dominate not just physically, but dominate the earth theologically, through their teachings, through their education, through their methods of control. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the true God was not to be made manifest until the God of evil was made manifest in them. So here we are. And you know who it was given to? The knowledge, the true knowledge of God and the true knowledge of the devil. It was given to the black man and woman, this little nappy-headed black man and woman here in America that was slave that no one wanted. No one wanted us. Everybody looked down. But God, in his mercy and his great beneficence, gave that word and that revelation to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for us, that we could stand up and begin to spread that knowledge to our people and throughout the world. He said this can be found in Thessalonians in the Bible, chapter 2, verse 9 and 10, and in the book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 8 to 10. I'm going to say that again so you can go and read it. This knowledge how the devil will rule and dominate the people of the earth, particularly the black man and woman of America, you can find in the book of Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 9 and 10, and in the book of Revelation, chapter 20, through their teachings, through their education, through their methods of control. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the true God was not to be made manifest until the God of evil was made manifest in them. So here we are. And you know who it was given to? The knowledge, the true knowledge of God and the true knowledge of the devil. It was given to the black man and woman, this little nappy-headed black man and woman here in America that was slave that no one wanted. No one wanted us. Everybody looked down. But God, in his mercy and his great beneficence, gave that word and that revelation to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for us, that we could stand up and begin to spread that knowledge to our people and throughout the world. He said this can be found in Thessalonians in the Bible, chapter 2, verse 9 and 10, and in the book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 8 to 10. I'm going to say that again so you can go and read it. This knowledge how the devil will rule and dominate the people of the earth, particularly the black man and woman of America, you can find in the book of Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 9 and 10, and in the book of Revelation, chapter 20, verses 8 to 10. All right, let's move on. But we're talking about do for self. That's what we are faced with today. Now, the question is asked because our people right now are afraid to do something for self. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, over 40, 50 years ago, warned us. He said, a day is going to come where the white man is going to trust you. And you're going to be walking around looking for a job, a J-O-B, a gig. And you're going to be wondering, where are you going to work? There are some of our people that got jobs and are doing for themselves, got businesses. But the masses of our people are particularly dependent on the white man. Look at the trucks and the commerce and the enterprise that comes in and out of our communities. These are owned by white companies. And they stop tomorrow. They said, well, we ain't going to deliver nothing in the black community. What are we going to do? Where do you want to get food? Where do you want to get water? How are you going to feed your babies that need milk and Pampers and different things? So what are we waiting? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the God that he met gave them a series of lessons that you had to be a registered Muslim to get these lessons. And in these lessons, they would call the supreme wisdom for the lost found members of the Nation of Islam in North America. Let me read. I want to read this here so you can understand what he was at. There was a series of questions. This is lost found Muslim lesson. They used to call it lost found Muslim lesson. Number 2. Question number 11. Would you sit home and wait for a mystery God to bring you food? That question was asked by Master Farad Muhammad to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He's asking him, would you sit home and wait for a mystery God to bring you food? Honorable Elijah Muhammad answered, emphatically no. What do you mean emphatically? What does emphatically mean? It means hell no. Definitely not. No way. I will sit home and wait for a mystery God. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in answering that question, he went on to say, me and my people who have been lost from our home for 379 years have tried that so-called mystery God for bread, for clothing, and a home. He said, we received nothing but hard times, hunger, naked, and out of doors. Now, our people are praying to a God up in heaven, so-called God up in heaven, for food, clothing, and shelter, and received nothing but hard times. We were beat and killed by the same God, so-called representative God, that we were praying to. He said we were being killed by the ones who advocated that kind of God. And no relief came to us until the Son of Man came to our aid by the name of our W.D. Quran. Okay? He said the people that were advocating that we believe in a God that we could not see, he said no relief came to us until the coming of at that time, W.D. Farad, who the Honorable Muhammad later on recognized that was God in person. Now, we're talking about doing for self. Stay with me, brother. For a little while longer. We will end. We will let you know what is the solution and what we need to do something for ourselves. Everything is not going to be sad and grief. It's not the end. We can do something for ourselves. One of the books that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was told to study, he gave us that book also. It's called the Holy Quran. This is the book of the Muslim. This is our spiritual guidance that he gave this to us and told us to study this book. Not just to read it, but to study. It's called the Holy Quran. In the Holy Quran, to back up what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was saying about doing something for self and waiting for a mystery God, in Surah 1, which is part of the opening, Surah 1 of the Holy Quran, Surah 1, verse 1. Okay, it says, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the world. The Lord of the world. The word Lord in Arabic means nourisher. Nourisher. Okay? In the Hebrew, it is called Rab. In Arabic, it is called Rab, which means Lord or nourisher. One who nourishes a thing from one stage to another until it reaches its perpetual perfection. Okay? So Master Farad Muhammad came and gave us a word and gave it to his messenger as a Lord among us that help nourish us like a mother. You know, when a child comes into birth, that mother has to nourish that child, has to make sure that child has all the means and methods for its growth and development. See, there's many worlds You think the earth is the world. No, the earth is the earth with trees and rivers and mountains and streams. But worlds are ideas. Worlds are concepts. Worlds are institutions. You have the financial world. You have the educational world. You have the criminal world. You have all kinds of worlds. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that Allah is the master and the Lord of all the world. He is the master of all circumstances. But he nourishes us, and he nourishes us so we can develop through truth. Okay? So that's what we need, brothers and sisters, a nourisher so we can understand the need to do something for ourselves. We have to stop. We are advanced. We have to stop depending on the white man to do for us that which we can do for ourselves. We have to, brothers and sisters. It is necessary. It's important. It's paramount. We cannot sit home and wait for a mystery God to give us food, clothing, and shelter, and begging. Let me give you a story that I've heard, because we don't think we can do something for ourselves. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings are so simple that a child can understand, that a fool can understand. During the time of Prophet Muhammad, the peace and blessings of Allah forever be upon him, one of the believers came to him. Prophet, I have no means. I have a family. He said, Prophet, I make my prayer. I make all of my prayer. I submit to Allah. He said, but I do not have things that provide for my family. I have no money. I have no, but I am submitting in my own way, in my own time. I am one of the believers. Prophet Muhammad, they say, ask him, you make prayer? He said, yes. He said, do you have a prayer? Yes. He said, take that prayer rock and sell it to some, a believer. He said, take the money that you receive from your sale of that prayer rock, okay, listen, and buy 2 more prayer rocks. Listen. He said, take those 2 prayer rocks and sell those 2 prayer rocks to 2 different believers. Take the money from the 2 prayer rocks that you receive and buy 4 or 5 prayer rocks. And take those prayer rocks, those 4 or 5 prayer rocks, and sell them to another group of believers. Get that money from those prayer rocks and buy a host of prayer rocks. And take that money and buy some more prayer rocks. The man did exactly Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told him to do, instructed him. The man became wealthy. He was a merchant of prayer rocks. Then he was able to feed, clothe, and shelter his family. Oh, praise God. It's a full mathematics. Okay? Yes. So, brothers and sisters, that story just goes to show you we can take those simple things, those things that we have, and make them productive and put money in our pockets. There's no reason that our people in America who helped build this country, who fought in every war that America has ever been involved in, we're in homeless shelters. In New York City, in Brooklyn, New York, where I've lived all my life, I go by an old armory, military armory, that is now a shelter. Hundreds of black men are crammed in jail and living there, have no job, no place to go. I see some of them have no shoes on. We are the sons, and women are in there. We are the sons and daughters of ex-slaves that built this country. And now we are living in shelter. We have to, brothers and sisters, do something for ourselves. I'm going at you because I know we can do this. Because God came and revealed himself to Honorable Elijah Muhammad to give us the divine solution to do something for ourselves. Now listen, we're going to give you the solution. See, we're just not going to just teach you, but we're not just going to preach to you, but we're going to give you a solution that you can use for your everyday life. You know, I listen to some of the commentators, and we always asking, well, how come Shaq, with all of his men, can't go here and there and purchase this? How come LeBron James can't take his money, his millions and billions? How come Jay-Z and Beyonce, how come they can't go down and purchase all of these things? We cannot wait for athletes and entertainers to do those things. They may not have the understanding. They may not have the will. They may not have the ingenuity and the spirit to do it. But we don't wait for them. Look in the other countries. Look in Egypt. Look in China. You hear them promoting athletes to do for them? No, they're not waiting for no athletes and entertainers. Those people are doing something for themselves out of their own inertia, out of their own desire to perpetuate their life. They're not waiting for that. We're always waiting for that. There's some brothers that I'm associated with. We have an organization called United Nation Building. We are in negotiation right now to purchase some land in Oklahoma. We met with some of the residents of Oklahoma, some of the black people there that have hundreds of acres of land. The sister that we were meeting with, she said there's about 11 different cities in Oklahoma, not just in Oklahoma where they had the Black Wall Street, Tulsa, but in Bodie, Oklahoma. In different parts of Oklahoma, these are cities, black cities owned by black people. We can come in and be the mayor. We can go in there and be the councilman. These are black cities, and you can't wait for LeBron James and them to go in there and do that. We have to do it. Very simple. It is a shame that these are black cities occupied by black people. But they just don't know. They're disillusioned. They're uninspired. They're in fear. And the sister said they are so poor there. But they got land that they own. Their heaven is right under their feet. I always tell the story. I like to say this story. A believer came to Mr. Muhammad and said, "The only apostle, where is the hereafter? Where is the hereafter? Where is the hereafter?" The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "You're standing on it." He meant the land that you are standing on is your hereafter. But you have to pull that hereafter out of the earth and make it a living reality in your life, right here, right now. we must and we can do something for self, and we cannot wait on athletes to do it, brothers and sisters. We need solutions. We don't need talk. We need action. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us a solution that he received directly from God in person. He introduced to us a program for self-development. A program for self-development. All right. We're going back to the message to the black man. It's in here. Make sure you find wherever you have to go and get a copy of this book, which should be in every black home in America. The solution. Message to the black man, page 169, excuse me. That has a solution. Program for self-development. 169. Here it is. Here we go. A program for self-development. Here it is. Listen, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we must remember that we just cannot depend on the white race ever to do that which we can do for ourselves. The American so-called Negro, the black man and woman, are like the story of Lazarus and the rich man. The story that Jesus must have foreseen at that time. Lazarus was a beggar. Lazarus had sores on his body. Lazarus was constantly sitting at the rich man's table begging for food. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the beggar was charmed by the wealth of the rich man to whom he was a servant. People were marveling. Remember, they were marveling at Elon Musk. Oh, Elon Musk is one of the richest white men in the world. He made the Tesla cars, and he had all this money. Marveling at the rich man. We were charmed by the wealth of the rich and famous. And he could not, this is Lazarus, could not make up his mind up to seek something for himself. He was couldn't make up his mind to do something for himself. He was in confusion. That's what's going on today. Black people, they're trying to figure out what should they do. Some black people are talking about leaving America. Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you to separate over 60 years ago. Now you just found that out, you needed to do that? You just woke up to that? Because you're afraid. Some people are talking about getting your passport and leaving the country. Some of them saying that they don't know what they're going to do. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad goes on to say, this beggar was offered a home in paradise, but could not make up his mind to leave the gate of the slave master or the master. He was Lazarus in the Bible. Go read it. Was offered paradise by God. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad came to us, pleading to us to do something for ourselves with a plan. He was offering us paradise, not somewhere in the sky, not after we die, but a paradise right here on this earth. And like Lazarus, we are here today, not able to make up our mind to just do something for ourselves and get our paradise right now. As I'm nearing my conclusion, brothers and sisters, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad also in his book has a 12-point program, which is found on page 171. A 12-point program. This is a program. And the program says, number one, separate yourself from the slave master. That doesn't only mean, because we already separated, basically throughout America, there's a white side of town and there's a black side of town. There's the hood and there's the suburb. Separate your mind, first of all, from the slave master. That's the first separation. Pool your resources, your education and your qualification for independence. Pool your money together. Stop spending this seriously on things you really don't need, just want. We're the only people we complain 98% of the time what the white man is doing to us, and we're buying from him 97% of the time. Stop forcing yourself into places you are not wanted. Don't go to the white man's neighborhood you want to live there. You abandon your neighborhood to go to his neighborhood, and he don't even want you there. Stop doing that. I know you want a better environment, a better lifestyle, but clean up your own neighborhood. That's what he says. Point number 4, make your own neighborhood a decent place to live. There used to be a cartoon in the Muhammad Speak newspaper. There was 3 or 4 different frames. And the cartoon showed white people running from their home out the back door, and they were saying, oh, the niggas are coming. And the one that they were calling niggas was running into the white man's home, and those black people, those so-called niggas that the white man was running from, those were saying, well, other black people were coming in and said, oh, so niggas are coming. See, while we're running from our homes and leaving them abandoned and empty and indecent to live, white people are coming right back around, and they're doing what is called gentrification. Look up that word. They're gentrifying the neighborhoods where once we lived as black people and had our homes and neighborhood, white people are coming there and they're buying it up. The rent is going up, and now you can't live there. Okay, let's move on. He said, rid yourself of lust of wine, drink, and love yourself and your kind before loving others. Stop getting high. You want to be high all the time. You're escaping. You want to snort coke, drink wine all day, drink Hennessy. That's an escape, brothers and sisters. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad goes on to say, unite and create a future for yourself. Unite. Unity is the key. And create a future for yourself. He said, build your own homes, schools, hospitals, and factories. The white man has been doing that all along. We just can't work for him. We can do that ourselves. We can do that ourselves. Do not mix your race to racial integration. We want to integrate with the white man. We want to marry his daughters. We want to marry his sons. And we shun our women and men because we think it's better if we're with them. Get out of that kind of mindset. These are simple things. These are solutions. Stop buying expensive cars and clothing and shoes before you're able to live in a fine home. It's better to get a home that you can live in. You don't have to buy all those expensive clothes and jewelry and Gucci and all of that stuff. Those are the brand name. How do you know there was a genuine? The Gucci, the clothes themselves that I'm real, but did someone put a label on it? Right now, I can get a shirt and put a Gucci label on it, and you'll buy it. Oh, that's Gucci, son. Yeah, okay. Spend your money among yourselves. Stop going to the white man and spending money with them. We have online businesses owned and operated by black people. I get my toilet paper, my paper towels, my laundry detergent from black manufacturers and producers. That's where I get mine from. You don't have to get everything I do. At least get one thing. You go into the corner store and they're charging you X amount of money. You're going to Costco. You're going to Sam's Club. You're going to BJ's. They got brothers and sisters that can sell you soap and lotions and all kinds of products online. There are black banks too. Stop putting your money in a white man's bank. If you want to put in a white man's bank, take half of that money and put it in a black bank. I bank with a black bank. Oh, yes, I do. But I can't tell you to do it and I don't do it. That's a contradiction. All right, let's move on. Build your economic system among yourself. Right now, it is said that the money that is among black people in America is close to 3 trillion, not billion, $3 trillion. That is more than some countries in the world. And lastly, it says, protect and respect your women. See, all of those 12 points, 11 points would mean nothing if we don't protect and respect our black women. They are our jewel. The black women are our precious entity, our beauty, our everything. You know, the temptation to say, you're my everything, you're my everything. Yes, Lord, he's our everything. He's our comforter, he's our mother, he's our first nurse, first doctor, first teacher. Yes, protect you. Now, to show you an example what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was able to do, they just celebrated and honored a brother that was a member of the Nation of Islam, Brother Nadar Ali. He was a business manager and educator hired by Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He joined the Nation of Islam in 1966, and I think Brother Shaw, I think he's the one who sent us the video. I saw the video before, but I was able to review it. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad sent for him and told him what he wanted him to do in terms of doing something for ourselves, doing something for the Nation of Islam. He told Brother Nadar to go to Peru. I think Peru is in South America, Central America. He said, I want you to purchase fish. I don't want no going to the middleman. I want you to go directly to the government. I don't want no intermediary. He said, the messenger said, we are a government, so we deal directly with the government. They purchased 36 million pounds of fish that was sold by the Nation of Islam in the communities throughout America. 36 million pounds a year was coming in. We had all kinds of fish products and fish businesses. Yes, this was an example. I remember I sold the fish in New York City, Temple No. 7. Yes. I mean, I was the director, youth director. I was about 21 years old. And this was in 1973. Yeah. All the brothers were selling. Many of the brothers, we had what was called a fish fork. Hundreds of brothers left their jobs and created jobs for themselves. Brothers was opening up restaurants, fish houses. And I was still working at my job as a director. And some of the brothers told me, FYI, it can be kind of rough and tough on you. Brother said, I was Brother Ronald at the time. Brother Ronald, you with the fish program now? I said, no, sir. He said, you're not with the messengers program, brother? You don't want to help the messenger? You a hypocrite, brother? That's what they said to me. I felt so bad. I was depressed. Some brothers said, you're not with the messenger. And I wanted to be with the messenger. We always felt that we didn't want to, upset the messenger and not, support him. And I went home and I told my wife, I said, Ellen, I said, I'm going to quit my job and sell fish full time. You know, my wife said, you know, we have to listen to our wives sometimes, the wisdom, the queen. She said, no, don't quit your job. She said, keep your job. Sell fish part time on the weekend. Okay? And use your job where there were people that you meet and sell them fish. I never thought about that. I was selling so much fish on the weekend. I was selling more fish because I was popular, well known in my community. I lived in the housing project at the time, and everybody was about 700 families in that building. All around me were housing projects. I was selling so much fish, I couldn't even keep up with the customers. The demand was so great. Me and my wife, I was making so much money. I was selling more fish than the brothers that were selling full time. Me and my wife, I had so much money. We would count money at night. We got tired of counting money. I had so much money. But that was just to show you how lucrative that fish program. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told Brother Nadar Ali, he said, I want you to expand the educational system that we have called the University of Islam. Most of those schools, we called them the University of Islam because we were teaching our children high science. But they were basically elementary schools and junior high schools and high school. But he wanted to take it to the university level and the college level. That's right. Our children in those schools, our little babies that were 6 and 7 years old were doing all kinds of stuff. Our graduate students that came out of high school from the University of Islam were being recruited and requested to go to some of the top universities in America. The messenger said, I want it. So with Donald Trump talking about he's going to take the educational system, we create our own educational system. We don't. Yeah? We were selling so much fish that at the time in 1973, the Secretary of State at the time was a man by the name of Henry Kissinger. Some of the big fish companies in America were complaining. He said, them black Muslims are outselling us because we sold the fish, the messenger said, sell it for low price. Make it reasonably accessible to our people. We were selling it for 37 cents a pound. Now, fish is like $4 a pound. We were selling for whitings, H&D, whitings, head off and gutted. 37 cents a pound or 35 cents a pound. Henry Kissinger told the government of Peru, stop selling fish to these people. And they stopped. The messenger said, all right. He prayed to his God, Allah, Nasser Muhammad. He went to China. He got fish from them. One of the brothers that was the business lawyer told the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that they wasn't allowing the ships to bring the fish in. The messenger told the brother, he said, go purchase me a ship. Man, this man, you know, they say he was ahead of his time. No, he was on time. He told that business lawyer, he said, go buy me a ship. We got the money. And the brother was working on getting a ship. See how we can do something for ourselves. Now, we have the qualification. But you might say, well, how are we going to do all of this? Brothers and sisters, you have some of the most qualified Black people here in America. But let me say something before I go there. Brother Nadar Ali said, after he made his presentation at this panel when he was talking about what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had asked him to do. Before he ended his discussion, he said, none of this, none of what the Nation of Islam and what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was doing could not be achieved unless Allah God was with the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It all came from God. So when you think you're doing something on yourself or for yourself, know that God's hand has to be in it. Divine guidance, because it will not work without the intervention of God. Praise be to Allah. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we have qualified people. We have doctors, lawyers, engineers, carpenters, electricians, engineers. We have all the qualified people that are necessary. We have chemists. You name one thing that exists in America as a discipline, and I can show you a Black person that not only is into it, that has mastered it. Mathematician, explorer. Yes, this is true. So we have all the qualified people. We just have to do something for ourselves. And this is upon each and every one of us. Not just Black people that are not members of the Nation of Islam. Also, we are also challenged. If we call ourselves members of the Nation of Islam and under the teachings of the Messenger, we have to pave the way. We have to be the example. And we can all do it with unity. And as I close with these words from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said, all of this could be done under the crescent of Islam, under the crescent and the unity of Islam. We can do all things if you just have a faith, as the Bible says, of a mustard seed. You can tell the mountains, be removed, and the mountain would be removed. Mountain represents governments. Mountain represents opposition, big entities. But we can remove them under the protection of Islam. Allah has come for us. He has given us the solution. And it's for us, brothers and sisters. God did not abandon you. He didn't abandon you, but the very love that he had, that he raised up the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for us. So don't be afraid. Don't fear, nor shall you grieve. Allah is here. And you are his people, and he is your God. So with that, as I close, as I open, name of Allah and his messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I close. Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, thank you again for joining us today and listening to this lecture. It was not to offend you. It was not to degrade you or to make you feel bad, but to lift you up and know that you have the power, you have the energy, you have the intelligence to do something for yourself. If you want to help us, to help you, to help us, you want to get some information on how you can help us do something for ourselves and learn more of the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I'm just one student. There are many of us, and you can benefit from these great teachings. So again, thank you, brothers and sisters.
If you believe what you are taught today on Islam is true, and you would like to learn more or you are ready to accept and reclaim your own, contact the Lost Found Nation of Islam Muhammad's Temple United at 623-312-4352. Again, that's 623-312-4352. We thank you for joining us today, and we ask that you return next Sunday and invite your family and friends. We ask your support so that we may continue to get the truth out to our people.
The Lost and Found Nation of Islam, Muhammad's Temple United, is seeking to unite with all of the believers in temples across the country. If you are a member or a part of a temple, or if you have a temple, contact us and let us unite one nation under one way of life, Islam as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The time is now, black man and woman. Your nation awaits you. Assalamu alaikum.